Sands of Salzaar is now available to play in English, and that's pretty lucky for us English speakers. I was sitting on the fence about creating a review about Sands of Salzaar due to the clear and obvious investment of time that it would take to describe and experience all of the story and mechanics of this game, but I do want to share it with everyone, so here I am. By the way, did you notice Indie Blitz just hit 1,000 subscribers? Feel free to jump in and join, and leave a note about your thoughts of Sands of Salzaar in the comments below. Sands of Salzaar is one of those strategy games that just offers endless customization, and I do have to say I found myself scratching my head a little given how many options you have in terms of class and character visuals. I did end up with a nice little bogan mage look happening. I think it's pretty on point. But nonetheless, the amount of customization is clearly something the developers have aimed to do, and you can see that with a lot of the game's design in terms of gameplay and storyline. There is talk about monsters and dark moons and all sorts of classic fantasy tales here, but Sands of Salzaar basically lets you choose the way you want to approach your journey. If you love a side quest, well, you're going to have to lock yourself up for days just to touch the surface. It feels like just about every corner you turn, there will be someone asking something of you. And it's easy to see how this game is one where people spend more time away from the main quest than they do actually completing it. Saving random people from bandits, clearing jails to recruit new friends, sieging outposts and getting whole nations angry at you. There's a lot going on here. Fighting in Sands of Salzaar is pretty interesting. When you find a battle to begin, you load into a new area which has borders and quite a bit of space to fight. You have your own character to fight with alongside one friend, and whichever mercenaries you have managed to recruit or persuade to fight. You can set what you want them to do, but I prefer to leave it on auto and let the AI take care of it. Fights are fun enough, although they can become repetitive early, and you will need to do lots of repositioning and spell casting to get through. Watch out for the epic army battles, which just have so much carnage on the screen, which is an absolute delight to see. If your character dies, and they will, but you still have friends alive, you will respawn after a few seconds, lose the fight, and head back to the previous checkpoint, missing a few coins and perhaps a couple of items as well. As I mentioned earlier, you do have the option to siege places to try and get control, and I thought I should give this a go for the benefit of the review. Let's just say that was a mistake, although I really enjoyed the new siege battle system, and it's a shame I was so weak that I couldn't try it out further. Worth noting that sieging a place will make their ruler very angry at you, which can have some pretty harmful consequences. Win fights to gain loot, which you can trade and use as you would in any RPG game, and also gain experience and levels, which then can be used to learn new skills and abilities. There looks to be a lot of different ways in which you can level up your skills and traits. Choosing your path is going to be fun. One thing I have read about but haven't looked into myself is the ability to create mods and multiplayer maps for Sands of Salzaar. So let me know if you've got something to add there. Seems like a pretty cool option to have. Sands of Salzaar would have to be one of the hardest games to review, and I'm going to abstain from giving a score, solely due to the amount of options, customization, and things to do within the game. It's really hard to get a good grasp of it, as every turn seems to bring about a new mechanic or situation. I do have a couple of criticisms from what I've played through so far. The battle mechanic system is fun, but there is the ability for enemies and yourself to evade auto attacks just by moving. It can be frustrating missing most of your attacks when chasing a fleeing enemy just because they will step after you've already clicked to attack. The story is pretty deep and it really does jump in, throwing a lot at you at once, and it can be pretty hard to get a grasp of what's going on, whilst there is a lot of having to learn things on the go and work it out just by trying. This kind of leads me to my last point. Sands of Salzaar is a brilliant game and well worthy of your time if you are in it for the long haul. Looking for a game to become obsessed about within a rich and political world? Then Sands of Salzaar could well be the right choice for you. This is not your simple linear RPG, it is very open in scope and in design. I feel like fans of the RPG and strategy genres will have a love-hate relationship with this one. You will have some people who will play hundreds of hours, and then you'll have some people who will lose interest in the first few. So I'm really curious to think about what you guys feel about this one. So let me know below.